and welcome to Q&A with CNA. My name is Deanne Mucci, and I'm the Mission Advancement Director for Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health. Today, I am filling in for Kyle Schwartz, our normal host, and in the studio today, we have Kim Cernansky, who is the agency's Assistant Clinical Officer, Client's Right Officer, and School-Based Provider Program Manager. And we also have Jen Parmenter, who is a school-based therapist, but she also runs our multi-systemic therapy program. So welcome back to the program, both
Thanks
of you.
for having us.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
So Kim, we're going to start with you. As always, we just kind of want to know, refamiliarize our viewers with your background, where you grew up, went to high school, college, and how did you end up at CNA?
Yep. I grew up in Wickliffe, Ohio. It's like a suburb east of Cleveland, about 20 minutes away. Went to Lake Catholic High School. Came to Mount Union right here, met my husband, went to grad school at Case Western, and then we decided to reside here in Alliance, Ohio. We have 3 kids. They go to Marlington, and one's going to Ohio State next week. So.
And how did you end up at CNA?
Honestly, we moved here in Alliance, and I was just looking for a job, and CNA popped up. I'm like, let's give it a try. So I've been working here for 22 years in September.
Nice. And then Ms. Jen, kind of go through what Kim did, your background, how you ended up at CNA. You left for a little bit,
I
and
did
we're
leave
glad
for a
you
little
came
bit,
back.
thank you.
Yep.
An aviator through and through, born and raised in Alliance, graduated from Alliance.
Welcome back home.
Yeah,
then.
this is my hometown. And then went to Colorado for a year for college, met my husband. Now we moved back to Alliance, and I went to Malone for my undergrad and Malone for my master's. So, and then started my intern really at Child and Adolescent. So
you interned with the agency, and then you decided.
nearly 30 years ago.
And then they hired you back.
They
Nice.
did, yes, yep.
So Kim, as we mentioned at the outset, you have a variety of roles with the agency. I'm not sure how you keep them all straight and
I
do
do.
them. So tell our viewers a little bit about what you do as assistant clinical officer, then a little bit about client rights, and of course, what you're mainly doing, school-based consultation.
Okay. So assistant clinical officer, really, it's whatever our chief clinical officer, Georgine Boros, asked me to do. A lot of it has to do with managing the programs that we have here at CNA. So just working closely with the program managers, whatever their needs are, working closely with our supervisors and what their needs are. So really whatever Georgine wants me to do, I'm there to kind of assist. As far as client rights, when clients have concerns, complaints, they call me. So I'm kind of that peaceful mediator to help resolve their problems so they want to continue receiving our services. As far as school-based, yep, that is my baby. Been doing it for a long time. We're in 8 school districts here in Stark County. I work closely with our superintendents, with principals, school counselors, alongside Starkmar, the mental health board, to provide services here. So we have therapists. Jennifer's one of them here at Alliance High School. Just providing those mental health services to our kiddos that are in need. So it keeps me busy.
Sounds like it. Jen, so we won't touch on it too much, but you can mention it. You are, as I mentioned, the MST, Multi-Systemic Therapy Program Manager. And then you also cross over and work with some of our kids in the schools. So tell us a little bit about how those two either are different or interact a little bit.
Well, MST is very intensive home-based service, and so and we've served kids in Alliance, but we do all of Stark County and actually Medina. Most of our referrals come from the court, so it's really meant for kids who are struggling with really high-risk behaviors like not coming to school, or substance use, running away, verbal, physical aggression, whose families just need that really intensive program for just about 3 to 5 months. We really become a part of the family, and we have a lot of success usually with at least those big behaviors being eliminated or decreased. So, and then with the school base, I guess there have been kids in Alliance that we've worked with through, our program serves 12 to 17. So it's mostly those ages, but here at the high school, then I just enjoy being here, being able to consult, because not all kids need that level of intensity. And so also, like a lot of the services that Kim oversees and stuff too, it is to help kids and families navigate some of that tough stuff, like anxiety and depression and things, and behaviors, so they don't escalate to needing, the court system or MST.
So Jen, we're going to stay with you for a minute.
Okay.
So, as we just covered, you do a variety of work with the agency, and you also work with families both with MST and probably also on the school-based side. So tell us how those challenges kind of play into each other.
Well, I think because sometimes, especially the MST, a lot of our parents, caregivers, or grandparents, or a lot of, grandparents raising kids too, is, often just feeling they don't know what to do. And that hopeless, especially with our MST, those families have often tried lots of services and they just feel like there's nothing left for them. So what's exciting for us and in our field particularly is that we can bring hope to families that have a lot of things going on, that we do have some ideas of what to do. It's not magic, and we do need 100% MST particularly, and any of our services. I think parents, caregivers, the trusted adults in these kids' lives, they are the most important people because services like ours are meant to be around for a while and close. So we need to help our families sustain progress, being able to communicate, the warmth in the family, the supervision and monitoring over this technology that creates problems for families. So I think they can really overlap just in that we can bring hope and support to families who don't really know what to do with all the things going on in the world right now.
So Kim, we briefly touched on some of your responsibilities as program manager. Do you want to deep dive in, like how many school districts do we serve, how many therapists are there, and then really what the therapist role is at each or in the school?
Yep, so we are in 8 school districts, which ends up being about 42 schools overall. I would say we have about 20-ish therapists that, because we're so short-staffed right now, might cover 1 or 2 schools. So they're in there in the moment working with kiddos every day, from the start of school to the end of the school day, just being in that moment when kids need us. And if they're dysregulated, we're there to kind of jump in, de-escalate. We're there to screen kiddos that might need services. So yeah, just coordinating with the school counselors, the principals, just being there in that moment.
Yeah, and last episode we actually had Dan Swisher on, superintendent of Marlington, and he brought up an interesting fact that he understood. He goes, we have a great relationship with CNA. We love our therapists that are in the Marlington school space. Like, sometimes the teachers need a little bit of help. So can our therapists also assist or help a teacher while they're also in the schools?
Yep, part of one of our consultation codes that Starkmar provides us with is education to staff. So we can do trainings. I know Jen might talk a little bit about some trainings she's provided at Alliance City Schools. So that is really part of what we can do, is give staff that education on how to work with kiddos that are struggling.
Okay. And so, Kim, I also understand that care teams started in Stark County right around 2000, maybe a little before or a little bit after. Can you kind of give us the history of care teams, how they assist or if they help school-based providers and how they do that?
Absolutely. It's an expectation that our providers attend those care team meetings. So it's a great team collaboration. We have a principal there, your teachers from the different ages, the different grades. Our family support specialists there, our providers are there, and like I said, it's a good collaboration. Kids that are brought up are kids that are struggling socially, emotionally, and like I said, it's a team approach where they're trying to decide what interventions are going to work with this kiddo in the classroom, in the community, and then maybe possibly services. So referrals come from that to get opened up to services here at CNA.
And do you know why care teams first started? Was it really to identify these kids that were struggling or needed?
Yeah, Kate Port started it years ago. I think she finally retired like 2 years ago. She did, but she was instrumental in bringing care teams to Stark County. So.
And were care teams before school-based, or they kind of both?
They kind of both simultaneously started, I would say, kind of at the same time. Yeah.
And is that when you started?
No, it's not. You're aging
But
me
it
a bit,
was around when I did.
Right.
Just joking with you.
I know.
So Jen, the school year is set to start in Alliance. I don't know if it's before or after Labor Day, because I know Marlington goes after Labor Day. How important is it now for parents to start to get kids ready for the school year?
Any of the kids that we are like working with now through like the MST program, we have been like the last month or so, because kids are on a different routine. It's more relaxed. We don't have the homework, maybe bedtimes or, So really, it's probably time now, because don't we start in the next few weeks?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's time now for us to like start to bring some structure maybe back into the day. And if I could just put a little word out there, like that technology, there's some great apps for parents. They can just shut that stuff down from their own phone. That way we don't have to get an altercation with the children. So just, being able to kind of structure that so kids can get, we know how important sleep is. you know, for families, all of us. But just bringing that structure back, some type of curfew, bedtime or whatever, maybe getting up in the morning, getting your bowl of cereal or coming to school because you get to eat.
Yeah.
That's lovely in Alliance. We have our free.
I know with my own kids, it was a challenge
Yeah,
sometimes, and they
yeah.
both were in sports. So by the time August 1st hit, they were already kind of
Yes.
getting back on that routine without the homework and all that. So that
But
kind
some of us are sleeping till 2 in the afternoon.
yes, they
That's
are.
when the day started.
So Kim, during the past year, you also worked and oversaw our prevention team a little bit. Does the prevention team interact with school-based therapy? And if they do, how do they help or assist or et cetera?
Yeah, again, it's a team approach. We collaborate really well with our prevention program. I did oversee a lot of it, so I was instrumental in kind of having that work together. Marissa Cooney, I think you've had her on the show before too. She's great as far as our BH prevention goes. That really has grown in our school districts. So BH prevention, there's groups that are running starting at kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. So yes, it's a great resource for our therapists to have when we're screening kiddos to determine what services they might need. They might only need prevention, so we can get those into those children into the groups. So yeah, we work hand in hand together. It's great.
Great. Jen, is there a provider for only students? Well, we were talking about training. So what kind of trainings have you done for either Alliance City School teachers or maybe
Anywhere.
just across the board?
I love doing the trainings. So
And they love you.
Yeah, we have a really exciting one this year I did for Alliance High School. So I think it's really important because teachers, you know, their job is to teach. And unfortunately, I think as the years have gone by, they've been given a lot more responsibilities from trying to be a counselor to sometimes filling in as a caregiver role. And, you know, it's a lot. I think it's a whole lot. So really trying to help teachers with how do they take care of themselves, but also recognize maybe a student coming into your room who's, like Kim was saying, dysregulated. Not even maybe from what happened in the hallway, but from what's been going on, you know, that morning or the night before. And how do you go and recognize that? How do you help your room get regulated as a whole? How do you, because we know that there's contagious energy, you know, so how do you take care of yourself so that you can teach the kids and get them in the right part of their brain to where they can really take in the math lesson? So I love doing trainings for teachers.
And so one of the things I heard yesterday when I was talking to Mike Labriola, our superintendent with day treatment, and he's like, up there in their classrooms, they kind of have like a red, a yellow, and a blue code that kind of lets the teacher know when the kid comes in each day, like, I think he called it zone, what zone they're in.
Yeah.
But is that something you incorporate into your trainings, or is that something any teacher could use in their classroom?
I think having that connection with the kids is key, but obviously at Shipley, there's there's fewer kids, and so like a teacher that maybe is teaching at the high school middle, they have a lot of kids, but they do know their students. And so maybe what you can do for Johnny is not what you can do for Susie, you know. So, you know, how do you approach the kids? And we know in general, consequencing in front of the classroom is, you know, typically for the kids that we see, the ones I have with behaviors, that's not going to go well, and you're going to escalate it more than anything. So, so even though I think it's a big task to ask a teacher to kind of know what color the kids are coming on, I think they have a sense of, you know, most of their students. Because I think we just have excellent staff in Stark County too. And I was just talking to some, not sorry to go off track here, but in another county, just not the collaboration between like counselors and these counselors were having a really hard time coming into the schools. And so I had told one of our new staff, I mean, the beauty in Stark County, we're welcome into these schools. You know, you have to be careful of not just taking kids out randomly and missing lots of education, but teachers and us, like we really have a collaborative relationship.
Absolutely.
And our teachers, administration, from the top down, sitting on the care teams, we have great staff, and they understand the importance of mental health.
Even with our mental health board, that collaboration is key, and we have that with our mental health board.
Yeah, we're very blessed in Stark County.
Yeah, so that leads me into my next question, Kim. Mental health has been a priority in Stark County for the last several years. CNA themselves is starting some initiatives with like Athletes Strong for Mental Health. We collaborate with other agencies on Stark County Schools Mental Health Week. Alliance in Marlington have also done some like jars of change. How did those programs help supplement or help our school-based therapists with their role?
Right. Well, thanks to Mission Advancement, which is you, Dan, you've created a lot of those programs to bring awareness to mental health. So I think that's been key to decrease the stigma of mental health. I think when we show those videos at the schools during Mental Health Month, and kids seeing in the classroom see their peers on TV and preaching that mental health is okay, you got to pay attention to it, you have to seek help. So I think that really has helped decrease the stigma, and it's been an important part of CNA for sure.
And so then kids are more willing to reach out
Absolutely.
to our counselors or just counselors in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
Great. Well, is there anything else either of you want to add? I mean, I know we covered a lot today. I know we didn't cover everything, but is there something else you want to add before we wrap this up?
Well, I think we need people in
Yes,
this force.
we do.
So
Definitely
we
need
could
staff.
do that. Come work with us.
Yes, it's
we
a
love
fun
what
place.
we do.
We've been here a long time.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And I think just that there is hope out there. So I think it's easy to get, for people to feel like, this world's really on the struggle, struggling. But there's definitely so many good people out there and people that want to help and families that are doing the best they can for their kids. And we're here to help if they need it.
Well, thank you for joining me on today's segment of Q&A with CNA. Of course, we thank Kim and Jen for joining us, and you're
Thanks for
always
having us.
welcome
And
to come
thank you,
back.
Dan.
Yep.
Today, as I said, I'm filling in for Kyle Schwartz, and she will be back in the saddle next month when school starts. Until then, thank you for joining us.